Good afternoon, everybody. Uneducated Economist here. So I wanted to give you guys a quick lumber update here, or a building materials update. Um, when I see something new, I want to come out and let you guys know right away. So let's start with lumber. Lumber prices are dropping. Now, they're not dropping significantly. It went from 1,300 per thousand down to around 1,000 per thousand, but that is a pretty significant drop within itself. I feel that that's probably going to continue, but I don't see it happening to the point that we would go back down to what would be like considered a normal. Like normally prices would probably be around 400 or 500 per thousand. Like if you look at the historical average of lumber. But since the pandemic and everything has taken place, that lumber price is going to be much higher now. The normal price, right? The average price. And I'm going to assume that it's probably going to be somewhere between 500 and 700 per thousand. Might even be up around 800 per thousand. So at 1,000 per thousand, we're still significantly high, but it's come down dramatically and it's going to happen some more. The only thing that's going to hold that up is that as these prices come down, we are moving into the building season. So there's going to be a lot more demand coming from the builders looking to frame these houses up. That's going to put pressure on the prices as far as putting them back up again. But just from some of the things that I'm experiencing and some of the feelings that I'm getting watching the lumber prices right now, like I said, I see this 1,000 per thousand probably dropping under 1,000 per thousand and headed towards maybe around 800 per thousand, and that is just a complete guess. The retail prices won't reflect that for quite some time. It takes a couple of months before you actually see the lumber prices moving into the retail, like that drop in retail price. Right now, the retail is incredibly high. I mean, you got to think the lumber futures closed on January 15th at around 1250 per thousand. That's a lot of expensive lumber that's going to be in the system that's going to have to be worked through. This 1,000 per thousand that we're watching on the lumber futures price, that isn't until March 15th. That's when that contract closes. So even though it does reflect like some of the cash pricing coming out of the mills and what the wholesalers are buying and selling for, by the time it gets all the way to the retail yard, it's going to be some time before it gets there. So right now I have 2x4/8 standard and better priced at $10 a piece. This is very expensive. I mean, typically a 2x4/8 standard and better would be around $3.50. So at $10 a piece, that is up there. That's pretty expensive. But I do see those prices coming down. Like I said, the retail price should come down following the futures price. So, give it a few weeks. The only thing that would hold that up is that we are moving towards the building season. I mean, by the time March, April, starts kicking in, by May, this is when these framers are going to want to be like full tilt boogie trying to get these houses built during the good times, during the good season. So that might keep the lumber prices, like that might put a floor under the lumber prices as we move into that building season. Now, let's talk about vinyl windows. Vinyl windows have been like on my radar for the last few months, and it's because it has a 3-month lead time to it. And vinyl windows, typically when I would order a vinyl window, it would take anywhere from 10 days to 2 weeks to get. The lead time stretched all the way out to 3 months. That is a logistical nightmare when it comes to building a new home. Like if you have a remodel that you're going to do, you can kind of wait like, okay, well, we're going to have to wait 3 months to get the window in order to remodel, that section of your house or something. But if you're doing a new construction, you're doing a new job. I mean, I was talking with some guys who said that they get their houses dried in 45 days. I mean, 45 days is there's people who could probably do it much faster, but 45 days is a very quick turnaround for the time you start framing till the time you're dried in on that house. The roof's on, the windows are in, that thing is like sealed up to the weather. Now you can start working on the interior of it. But when the lead times on these windows stretched out to 3 months, it threw a monkey wrench into a lot of people's logistics. I mean, you think about it, like I would tell, framers back in, years ago, it's just like when you get up to the second story and you start framing those second story in, let me know. I'll come out, measure the window openings, or just let me know what that you're there, and I'll go off the plans or whatever and order your windows. By the time I got the windows to the job site, they would just be finishing up rolling the trusses, putting the roof on. So it was like perfect. They could, they get the roof done and they're back into, putting the windows in and start working on the siding. So it worked out really well. Like, when the framer said, hey, we're on our second story, you order the windows. Well, now you would have to order the windows like 2 months before you get started. And then there won't be any changes, and you better hope that you don't mess it up, like you didn't frame the openings wrong, or that you misorder the window some way, because that's going to add another 3 months to the project, which is going to be devastating to somebody who's, like, say, building a spec home, or just trying to build a home in general. It doesn't matter if it's a spec home or for sale for a custom home. If you add another 3 months, like you have to postpone your project for 3 months, that is going to be very damaging. I mean, it's both to the project, because you won't be able to weather it in. So there's going to be deterioration to your project, and then there's also going to be, the profit part of things, where it's just going to be that much more costly on the project, on the bottom line in the end. So having a 3-month lead time on windows was very difficult. I mean, very difficult to try and work with. Well, I got some confirmations in from some recent windows that I've ordered. I ordered some windows last week. I got the confirmations in, and they have a 2-month lead time to them. That's pretty good, to go from 3 months down to 2 months. Now, it's still not great. I mean, it's not the information that we truly want to hear, but it's not bad. I mean, that's showing that there's something happening there. So I talked with some of the other salesmen who had talked with the rep who supplies us with our windows, and the rep was telling them that they had hired a ton of more people, like a significant amount of staff. They upgraded a lot of their equipment, and they streamlined their distribution. And between these things, they were able to drop the windows lead time by a whole 30 days, bringing it down to 2 months. And from what I understand, as these windows, because like all the windows that I've ordered for like since December are all scheduled to arrive at the end of March. So I'd imagine by the time March rolls around that we are probably going to be in the quickest lead time that we are going to see in the next couple of months. We may even see it a little bit faster than that. And so I guess what I mean by that is that as we start working through these old orders and the past, shortages that are in the system right now, we should be coming into a much more efficient, faster logistics when it comes to getting the materials to the people, or to the projects. And now I think about this. What if this same situation has taken place in a lot of stuff, not just the vinyl windows, but say in just about anything out there? Well, this happens to coincide perfectly with the Federal Reserve and the raising of their interest rates. So you see how this can change the perception of the people. Like, I tell you, whatever the Federal Reserve does, it doesn't matter what it is, it's 6 months to a year later before it affects the economy. But they're going to start raising interest rates in March. And immediately, people are going to start feeling the effects of a supply chain that is starting to free up. I mean, this could very well take place. This is something that we're going to have to keep an eye on, because as the narrative out there is going to say, oh, look, the Federal Reserve is fixing the economy and fixing the issues with all the high prices and the lead times and everything by raising the interest rates, I think that probably would have happened anyway, because we're already starting to see it, even before the Federal Reserve has done anything. So this is something that I feel that we should probably keep a really close eye on. And I think the vinyl windows is a great indicator of things that could be coming. Anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. Uneducated Economist. You guys let me know.